Abbie, thanks for joining us. If you can tell everybody kind of, where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I'm out of Indianapolis. I am a licensed realtor and doing residential for quite a few years, and I also work a lot in investment, in real estate investment.
Okay, great. And if you can tell me, like in a sentence or two, what you would say to another real estate agent that is, looking at commercial real estate or CRE basic training and what it's done for you.
Let me just start by saying what I would tell someone who didn't have the training, because I was there, and that's the biggest problem is that you get these. Every realtor who's out there gets these opportunities for commercial, but you have no idea. The first time I had an opportunity, it was from my doctor, and she's like, "I'd really like to get a new office." Of course, I go on the MLS. I can't find her anything. It was completely in vain. I didn't even know where to begin. And that's the problem that you have is you can be really seasoned as residential, but when it comes to commercial, without the education that you get through your program, it's nearly impossible to do a deal. And you might get lucky, but I can't imagine. I can't imagine that it would work very well.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And what do you think if you had to look back over the last few months, what your biggest takeaway has been from the coaching program?
There's so many takeaways. I mean, just it's such a different animal when you go into commercial. The comps don't even run the same. In residential, you look out, you just look and find out what's similar. It's real easy to put a number on. It is not that simple. So I learned how to comp properties. I learned how to comp them in multiple ways because in some cases, again, it's just not that simple. So there is multiple methods. The understanding of the terminology that you go through is really important to understand. The fact that you need to understand that you need to know an attorney or have some type of contact, usually with an attorney, does help. Knowing that you have to have your environmental study done, your phase one. I mean, there's just so many things that if you could walk into a deal and they will know immediately, have no idea what you're talking about. I feel confident at this point that I can walk into those type of deals and be able to come across as somebody who understands what's going on and be able to work with a client in a much different fashion. Know what the building structure is like, understand what the power structure is like. Those are all the things that come into play. Where the location is, what the NOI is. So there's a lot of information that you provide that is invaluable to anybody that wants to get into this business.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And out of curiosity, why would you recommend CRE basic training to another residential agent who might be on the fence?
But I mean, first of all, I get it. So I studied this quite well. I've been ripped off, and I will say ripped off by many different opportunities in the past, especially when you get into investment. Anyone that understands investment, you talk about wholesaling, you're talking about um, lease options and things like that. Everybody makes these promises, and nobody really delivers. They just put this generic information out. They don't really answer the questions for you. That's very unlike what I received here. I received here some information. I mean, you give us real life information. The fact that we're able to go online with other students and talk to each other and understand what they're going through, and vicariously, we learn that way also. The fact is, if you truly want to learn commercial, yeah, you could take years learning it, and you're going to lose money. I mean, the money that you invest in this, and again, I have no gain by saying this, but the money that you invest into this program will pay itself off because the fact is you are going to get these deals initially that you like with the doctor's office. I can't imagine what kind of opportunity I could have had there. I mean, I probably would have picked up, $25,000, $30,000 on a deal like that. And I got none of it because I had no idea what I'm doing. So there's 25, $30,000 wasted versus the money that the investment that was put in through you. Was I leery at first? Yeah, because again, I've been ripped off. But I appreciate your integrity. I appreciate your honesty, and you are a person that really cares about what someone gets out of the course. And you really want to see people succeed.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And if you had to kind of look back on your time in the course, like, or I should say, look back to the beginning, what was it that made you choose this course over other ones that you've looked at or other ones that you've done?
There was one other one I looked at, and what it was almost primarily multi-building, multi-unit buildings. So it didn't deal with the commercial, with the industrial. He had nothing to do with that. His course was more expensive. And again, when I looked into it, I looked through it and realized this is not where I want to be. I don't want to learn one little segment. If I'm going to get into commercial, I need to understand. I don't want to be able to say, well, I can't do it this particular retail because I don't understand it, or I can't do this industrial, or I can't buy that empty lot. Well, I can only do multi-unit, which again, a lot of investors who are taught with from these people. That's what they're taught to do: go after this property. So you're in a very high competitive range. Where in this case, I feel confident across the board. Where in that case, I know I can't say I know I would have wasted my money. Even if it would have been worthwhile, it would have been too unidirectional, too singularly focused.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. And what would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence and debating whether they should or maybe shouldn't take the course? What would you say to them?
Because yeah, I mean, again, I went back and forth. It's like, okay, this isn't a ton of money, but it is capital that you're putting out. And again, here's the thing: are you serious about doing this? Because that's really what it comes down to. This course is not for the person that just wants to learn a little bit about commercial. You really have to understand: are you willing to engulf yourself in the commercial side? Because you give everyone the tools that they need. Question is are they going to use those tools? In my case, this is what I want to do. I realize I can work more normal hours. I can work less transactions and make more money. Now I'm still going to do the rest of the things that I do, but I can focus. I can pull back on those as I focus more, excuse me, on the commercial side of things. So
Got it.
for that reason, I would say, if you're on the fence, if you truly want to learn commercial and you want to be successful at it, and again, you don't want to lose deals because look at the first opportunity. If you reverse engineer the amount of money that you pay for this course as 3% to a property that you probably won't get, or you're going to blow the deal because you don't know what you can say initially, it pays off for itself. You have to commit to what you're doing because you give them the tools. The question is are they willing to put in the time and the effort to do it? It's up to the individual person. It's not from any lack of information from your course.
Got it. Got it. I see what you're saying, and I appreciate that. And are there any other benefits that you want to mention about the training or about myself or anything else you want to add?
It's a lot of information to take in. The thing I really like is that, for people that may not understand this, so you give the course so that you can go and you can listen to it as you go through it. And then also you go through and you give people every single week, in my case, Tuesday. I know you have multiple ones, but I attend every Tuesday one. And you go over those again. And there's times, I mean, it's that repetitive nature. There's times I've sat through something for now the second time, watched it twice online, and I'm still generating questions. So it's that repetitive. It's getting this information in your head because anyone, and let me back up again towards the residential, which most of these people are in. They know that the first couple times you did the same thing over, you're like, oh crap, I've done this purchase agreement, but I really don't understand what that means, and I don't really understand this. It's that repetitive nature that's going to help them to be able to do it. That's the thing I appreciate about this course, and you're part of each one of these Tuesday processes. So if I got questions or anyone has questions, our mics are on all the time. So we have that ability to ask the questions. And to me, that's 90% of it. Yes, you need that information, but it's the questions that you have when they don't get answered that will destroy you. And I appreciate the fact that you have those answers. And again, we set through and listen to people. Hey, I've got this deal and I've got that, and this is how this is working out, and this is working out, and you will give them advice. So we're vicariously living through that opportunity. So it gives us a better understanding, even though we're not doing the deal at that time.
Got it.
So
Got it. So that group learning environment is helpful for you.
that's really good.
Yeah.
And I honestly do appreciate everything that you do. And I appreciate your heart for what you're doing because, again, not a lot of people do this, and not a lot of people do this with integrity. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And any other kind of final thoughts you'd like to share?
Not for another couple hours. I don't think you
No,
have.
no. Fair enough. Abby, thanks again for taking your time. I really appreciate it. You're doing an awesome job. You're putting in the time. You're putting in the effort, and the future's bright in terms of just results because you are really dug down and gone to a granular level with this stuff. So you've got a whole lot of success ahead of you. So.
Brother. I appreciate it, man.